Hello and welcome down onto the tech desk, and in today's video we're going to be looking at an accessory for the Nintendo Switch, and it is this, the Nexigo Gripcon. There is something very special about this, so in this video we're going to go through everything all about it. We'll look at the buttons, the usual stuff, and then I'm going to talk to you about the little function that sits right up here for later in the video. So this is the box that it comes in. Nexigo Gripcon for Switch and Switch OLED, so it works for both the Switch and the OLED. I've got my OLED here. Hall effect joysticks, sweet. Auto turbo function, we'll talk about that later. Dual motor vibration, nice accurate motion controls, fine. And then if we spin it over, mapping button, kickstand, video switch button, all of this lot that we're going to go through. Okay, so this is the box that it comes in. When it arrived, yeah, great, it came with this in a bit of bubble wrap, that was it. Load of instruction manuals, so you kind of get this, which is just like your warnings and stuff. Quick start guide, that's always nice because you need to do the settings for this to sort this one out, just to change it into wired communication for it to work, so that's just on that sheet. And then we have a really nice user manual which goes through all of the features on here, which is really nice, really well laid out, really nicely explained. And the reason why I wanted to point that out is because I've had a lot of grips, I've had a lot of Joy-Cons and stuff that don't really do a very good job of explaining it, but this one does a very good job. Okay, so that's a nice user manual. And then finally you get these. These are thumbstick caps. I will talk about them later. I've been using these, and I'll explain why in a second, but basically they come with those in a separate box in here because they are little tiny thumbsticks. I mean, these are tiny, like on official Joy-Con, so you can have them small if you want to, or you can have these ones on. These are much bigger, make it feel like real proper big Joy-Cons. And then that was it. That was it for the box. Nothing else. I didn't get a cable, didn't get any cables at all. That's all you're going to get is those thumbstick caps, instruction manuals, and this. Okay, so let's go over it then. So on the left here we have obviously the minus thumbstick, D-pad, setting screenshot, and then we're plus, X, Y, A, and B. The right thumbstick, home, and the turbo button. On the bottom here is your USB Type-C, so that's where your Switch is going to sit in. And on the back here, it's like a felty material. So where this next goes, so everything here, this dark grey, is all felt, so it's nice. So it's going to protect the back of your Switch. There isn't anything in there to be kind of protecting the Switch. It all is plastic all under there. Having said that, I've had my Switch in and out of this several times over the last couple of weeks, and it's not scratched my Switch at all, which I'll show you. So it's okay. It's just to note that there's no kind of like felty bits under there, which I suppose would have been ideal really. And then on the top we have L, R, ZL, ZL. Now these are digital. They feel okay. They're not very clicky. They kind of just like bounce in top and right. They don't wobble too much, which is a nice sign. But yeah, they feel okay. They're comfortable enough. And then if we spin it over to the back, we have the two back buttons here, which I'll talk about in detail in a bit. We have this bit, which is your mode selector, and then we have the kickstand here, and I shall demonstrate that. This is brilliant, this kickstand. I really think that if you're going to get one of these grips, you need to have a kickstand on it, and this one does a very good job. The kickstand on the OLED is okay. The kickstand on the original Switch is terrible, so this is nice to have this on if you've got an original Switch. Okay, so let's talk about the buttons in a bit more detail. It's asymmetrical, and as I've said before, these are tiny. Look at them, they are really tiny. I don't mind it either way personally, but I did have those on, but I've taken them off just so we can see that there's the nice blue underneath there. So these are Hall effect sensor sticks, so there's hardly any dead zone at all, which we'll go in a bit. They just feel great. Hall effect sensors are brilliant, and using them you'll have no issues at all. This button here, average clickiness. Same with these two, you feel kind of the clicky. This one is a little bit more clicky than this one, but you're not going to notice. These are kind of two buttons that you're not going to use very often. And the D-pad here. So this is separate points on the D-pad, but it's all been one, because if you look here, if you press that, the whole thing moves. Don't know how you're going to feel about this. D-pads are a personal preference. I'll be honest with you, I got on okay with it, using it. But it depends if that's the kind of thing you want for your D-pad rather than one big kind of circle. And then spinning over to this side, X, Y, and B. These are quite a lot tougher to press down than most controllers I've ever had. but that's not a problem. There's a little bit of bounce to it. It's not that clicky. It just feels like a regular button, but a little bit stiffer. Hall effect sensor, joystick exactly the same, and these three I feel identical to the other ones as well. We have talked about these as well, so these are okay, nice and fine. And then the only other buttons are these two on the back here. So these two in a perfect place, nice and comfy to be holding, to be pressing with your middle finger. And also, again, like these, a little bit tough to press in, but that helps with the fact that you can kind of grip the Joy-Con a little bit more, and then you have to put the effort in. So there's no accidental pressing of these. It's just going to be resting on there and then pressing it. So it's okay. It's a little bit stiff, but that's not an issue for me. And it's like this translucent. I think there's a couple of colour these you can get. I'll leave links down below where you can go and see the colours. But this one is the black colour, and it's a little bit translucent. But on the back here, you see there's like a different grip. This is okay. This is just basically to give it a bit of a grippy material when you're holding it, which is fine. I would have liked this to be a different material. It is basically the same plastic, it's just been engraved a bit, which is okay. It just would have been nicer if it had been like a rubber. It just would have made it feel a little bit more premium than what is out at the moment. And then on the top, here is the special thing. Okay, so a couple of game cards that you can hold in there if you want to. And then we have the 3 ports up here. Now this is what this separates from other grips. So we have the USB 3 there, we have the HDMI 2 there, and we have the USB-C power delivery. So what the idea is, you can plug this into a TV directly, okay, via HDMI. You need to have the power in there, so you have your Nintendo Switch power in there and your HDMI in there, but it can go directly to a TV, which I will be testing later just to show you. But I will say this now, this is essentially a third-party dock. If you do not want to put your Switch in a third-party dock, do not get this, because that's essentially what you're doing. I have had a Nintendo Switch that has blown up on me about 3 years ago when using a third-party dock. Since then, for the channel, I've taken one for the team, and I've been testing various third-party docks, and they've been okay. But if you don't want to use a third-party dock, do not get this and plug in your HDMI in there, okay? So it's just a little bit of a warning for you, right? Don't do it if you don't want to. End off. So let's get the Switch. So here is my Switch OLED. As I said before, the first thing you need to do is you need to just go and make sure that Pro Connection mode is in wired. So in controller sensors, you need to make sure Pro Controller wired connection is set to on. Okay, so just make sure that is on, because then it will register when you program into this. And then all you're going to do is you're going to slot it down there like so, and then push it down. Just make sure it lines up at the bottom there, so you've got your USB plugging into there. Nice satisfying click, and we're in. That's it. When I did this first, I didn't need to pair it at all. I didn't need to do anything. It just worked as soon as I plugged it in. So while we're here, let's go and have a look at some settings. Let's do controllers and sensors, and then control stick. So let's do the left stick. Okay, look, I mean, almost instant. And then when we get to the edge, there's probably not even that, a millimetre or so just from the edge on the outside. But as soon as I touch it, it's moving. Doesn't get stuck on any of the times there. That's nice and smooth. So as you can tell, I haven't had a problem. Like I said, I've been using this for a few weeks now. Not had a problem at all with any of them. No drift. No drift, obviously. Nice and accurate. I think if you're looking for a nice, accurate controller, I don't think you'd have any problems. So we got to the edge there. Yeah, it's almost zero dead zones on the outside. And again, nothing all around the ring there. So let's talk about the functions then. This has turbo, so if you want to use turbo, you can do. It has manual and automatic turbo. So manual is you hold it down and it will fire. Automatic is you don't need to hold it down and it will fire. It has adjustable rumble as well, so you can change the rumble up and down for it as well. And then you have these assignable back paddles, which you can assign on the fly, dead simple. It also has gyro, so if you want to do that, gyro, no problem at all. And then finally, does it wake up the switch? No, it doesn't, because it's a wired controller. So there's no battery in this, so it won't be waking up. It gets the power from the switch, so the switch needs to be on for it to work. Okay, so let's double check that. Anything I press doesn't wake it up. You need to press that. And in we go. So in terms of comfort then, I'm a huge fan. If you've been on my channel at all, you know I'm a huge fan of these bigger Joy-Con. I really like them. I don't find these particularly uncomfortable. I just don't like them. For an adult, average-sized adult hand really, the Joy-Cons, they're just a bit too small, whereas these bigger Joy-Con just feel fantastic. So like your Nixes and your Split Bar Pros of this world, I really like them. So for me, this feels super comfortable to hold. I had a really good gaming session on it, a long gaming session on it, and I didn't cramp up at all. It was really comfortable. So let's get onto these then. Let's get onto these three up here. So we have the USB, the HDMI, and the power. So let's start off with just the power. So if I plug that in there, you'll see that it starts charging. Okay, so it starts charging the switch. Brilliant. There's no internal battery in here, so it's not going to be charging that. And whilst I've got this plugged in here, we'll have a look at the USB. I have my Pro controller here. I have a USB cable here. If I plug this in there, and I get one of them, and so that's the charging port there. If that lights up, we know that we're getting power through here. There we go. Okay, so we can get power through there. So the power comes into there and then passes all the way through to this USB port here. So you can charge stuff off or plug accessories into here if that's what you want. And then finally, what we're going to be looking at is the HDMI part of this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and tidy up and clear up and get this set up just so it's a little bit easier, just so I can show you what is what. So here we are then, I'm all set up now. This is very basic, very messy. This is just for the purposes of the camera. So I've got my monitor here, which is plugged in, so it's powered on, and I have an HDMI cable running out of it to here. The switch is in the grip, and it has the power cable in. You're gonna need the power cable in for this to work, okay? And what you're gonna do is plug full-size HDMI into there, and then you wait for a few seconds, okay? So there we go. It's about 5 or 6 seconds before it flicks over to here. And now we're in here. So we're playing on this monitor here. Brilliant. So now it's coming from that HDMI. And if I spin it over, we have this button here that's lit up. And all you're going to do is if you want to change it from that to the screen, you press the button and basically it just turns off the HDMI. And then you've got it back onto the switch. So let's do that again. So I'm going to flick this button, but again, you're going to have to wait. So if I press the blue button there, it flicks over, and then it will come onto here. Give it a few seconds. Wait for this red light to go. There we go. And now we're on here and we're playing on here. So we can use this Nexigo on this monitor like this, or if you didn't want to, then you're just going to be using your Pro controller, which again will connect to the switch, and you can use it via the screen there. So let me just show you then, if I take this plug out here, like so, it instantly goes off and goes back to this screen. Just to show you need power and you need HDMI into your screen for it to work, okay? So you need both those two. And then again, as I said, you can plug something into the USB if you've got an accessory that you want to use. So how about that then for a really cool function? I'm only going to say this one more time. If you don't want to use a third-party dock, don't use this function, okay? But like me, if you want to use it, it's really handy. I've actually thought about having this next to my gaming setup and then a massive long HDMI over to the TV and then just plugging it in when I need it and then using the Pro controller. It's a nice little setup I'm thinking about using. So a lot to like about this. It's nice and comfy. The thumbsticks are superb. And also the kickstand there, it's a perfect angle when sat on the desk when playing. a really nice angle to be sat in front of it, not too far away, not too close, so you can play it on your desk. So the kickstand is a very welcome feature. Nice addition of the back buttons, and all the buttons feel really good to press. Let's think of some negatives then. The main negative for me is the case. There is no case. I've got a bunch of cases and I haven't found one that fits, and I'll tell you for why. It's because if you see this bit here, it's a lot thicker. So a lot of the cases will need a space, have kind of like two spaces, two ridges. For example, if I get my large Nixie case that I use for the, if I have this open like this, you have these two here. A lot of cases come with these two ridges here, and it just doesn't fit in there properly because of this thick bit at the top. So it's going to need a specific case for it to fit, and none of my cases fit it. There is Nexigo Gripcon cases, but I'm not sure if that's going to be fitting this one for these. So for the negative is I don't know if there's a case yet, because it would need to be specific. And it also needs to have a cutout on the back here, because you don't want to start pressing this when it's in the case, just in case. The only other negative really is I'd like it to have had a bit of grip on the back there. That would have been just nice. But other than that, maybe a bit of RGB, but again, that might have affected battery life. Only a few negatives really, nothing really to worry about. I think this is a fantastic Gripcon for you if you want to use it. Even if you don't want to use the dock features, it's a lovely Gripcon to hold and to use. So let me know your thoughts on this, the Nexigo Gripcon. What do you think of it? Are you thinking about getting one? Are you thinking about picking one up? Go and have a look. I'll leave links down below where you can get hold of it. I've got the black here. I think I really like the purple version. I wish I'd have got the purple one if I'm honest, but go and have a look. Okay, let me know your thoughts. Please do like, please do subscribe. Until the next video, bye-bye.